Welcome to Atlanta Community Profiles, a show about living in Atlanta and purchasing a home here. Atlanta Community Profiles is hosted by Lou Whelan, who will talk to experts who know this ever-changing city and its real estate industry. We'll talk to mayors, community leaders, and residential real estate experts. Now, here's Lou Whelan with this week's Atlanta Community Profiles.
Hello there, and welcome to our show. My name is Lou Whelan. I publish the Community Profiles magazines, which are distributed by the First Multiple Listing Service of Atlanta. We have one for Atlanta, one for the North Fulton area in partnership with the North Fulton Chamber, one for Gwinnett County, partnering with the Gwinnett Chamber, one for Cobb County with the Cobb Association of Realtors, and one for Inside 285. They're available at all real estate brokerage firms, or most of them anyway, and most chambers of commerce at no charge. They're on my website, AtlantaCommunityProfiles.com, along with a great deal of additional information about Atlanta. I'm also a realtor with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Georgia Properties. If I could help you with any of your real estate needs, my website is LouWhelan, WIELAND.com. And the real estate market last year was pretty healthy. The prices and sales were up 3% and 6% respectively, and we were forecasting that pretty much the same for 2018. And so that's really a quick recap. And today we're welcoming back a good friend who's been on the show a few times, Mike Davis. Welcome back to the show, Mike.
Well, Lou, thanks for having me back.
Great to have you on the show. Mike and I worked together with Berkshire Hathaway a couple of years ago and raised $100,000 playing golf for the Sunshine Kids, and it wasn't our game, mind you. It was money that we collected via charity for hosting the tournament for the Sunshine Kids, a great cause. That was back when Mike was the mayor of Dunwoody.
Correct. That was a lot of fun.
And it was a lot of fun. It was a great day. And so Mike did a great job as mayor of Dunwoody. Phenomenal job, really, and particularly in the area of economic development for the city of Dunwoody, and we're grateful for his service to the community. And now he's in a different role at the DeKalb County Board of Commissioners, and his formal title is Chief of Staff, District 1. But before we go into the background and introduction further, I just wanted to say a quick thing about DeKalb County. DeKalb County is the third largest county in the state, with a population of 740,000 people. It's the third largest school district in the state of Georgia. The average price of homes sold last year was median price. Was $176,000, and there are different sources of information on that. We checked earlier, and the county is one of the largest counties in terms of institutions of higher learning, and we'll talk a little bit about some of that. Some of the best schools in the nation, higher education schools, are in DeKalb County, such as Emory University, which is known throughout the world as one of the finest schools in the world. And so, Mike, I know you have a whole laundry list there of topics that you want me to talk about with you, but first of all, you were mayor of Dunwoody and member of Dunwoody Country Club, and I understand you played more than one round of golf last year, and before that you were killing me on the golf course, so I know you must have improved somewhat a little bit at Dunwoody Country Club. What a great club that you belong to. Mike, tell us a little bit about the county from I know your area of expertise based on the wonderful job that you did as mayor as economic development. I know that's a favorite topic for you. So let's start with that one with DeKalb County. Give us a kind of a overall macro perspective on the economic development within the county.
Well, you've hit on a lot of the key information about DeKalb County, but it's a It's a large county. It's actually larger population-wise than 4 U.S. states, so that's significant. It's run by a CEO form of government, which is different than any other county in the state. So it's got a CEO doing the executive administrative part of the county, and then you have an elected legislative branch, which is the Board of Commissioners, of which there are 7 members. There are 5 districts and 2 super districts. My boss, Nancy Chester, is the elected commissioner for District 1, which is a northern part of the county. And we're talking about Dunwoody, Brookhaven, Doraville, Chambly, and Tucker, and some unincorporated parts of the county up in that area. So we are busy with stuff that's going on in that part of the county. But we also reach out into the rest of the county because we're concerned about making sure that the rest of the county is striving to be as successful as District 1. District 1 is where a lot of new businesses have come, a lot of new headquarters, whether it's regional or national or international headquarters. And as a result, we've had a lot of success in the northern part, not just Dunwoody, but Brookhaven, Chambly, Doraville, and we're striving to get the rest of the county to keep up with that kind of success.
So, when you were mayor of Dunwoody, you were very involved in bringing Mercedes, I know, to the area. In fact, they located temporarily, at least in Dunwoody, where they built their main office, which is under construction in Sandy Springs. State Farm. I know. What kind of principles of business are you applying to the DeKalb County that you applied to Dunwoody that were so successful?
Well, in my mind, I believe that the way you attract corporate headquarters and corporate offices is by making your community look like the kind of place where the CEO or the C-level executives can see themselves living. And so that's where we really start, is how do we enforce our codes in Dunwoody and the other northern cities? How do we force the businesses, the homeowners, and everyone else involved in making your community look livable and attractive? How do you make sure that's happening? And I think that's one of the keys that the county in general has missed in the rest of the county, is that a businessman driving down the street looking for a place to locate his business is first and foremost trying to imagine himself living in that area. And if it looks like something that doesn't look attractive, well, that's exactly that first impressions are last forever, as we say, and you have to do everything you can to clean up your area, make sure the lawns are mowed, make sure the garbage cans are brought back in, make sure that the street lights work, make sure that the trash is picked up. Just make sure everything looks the way you want it to look in a place you'd like to live. And that's always been my mantra, is how do I make it look like a place I'd want to live? And hence I live in Dunwoody. And we brought in, as you mentioned, State Farm was a huge coup. It was 2 million square feet of office space and 10,000 employees. And State Farm basically came to the conclusion that they were not attracting the high-level people coming out of graduate school and out of college, because in order to move up in State Farm historically, you had to move from city to city to city. And a lot of these younger kids coming out of college who just went through in their lifetimes the career. So State Farm realized that they were not getting the kids coming out of college like they had really hoped, and they made a significant decision. They had 29 regional offices around the country with anywhere from 500 to a couple thousand employees, and they decided to shut down all of them and open up.
And so when we get back after the break, we're going to talk about some of the cities in the county, and also their economic well-being, and also the possibility that Amazon may even come there. They do have an ideal location for Amazon, so
we sure do.
Who knows? We'll talk about that right after the break.
Thanks.
Welcome back. I'm Lou Whelan, sitting here with our friend Mike Davis, who's no longer mayor of Dunwoody. When we met, he was a mayor of Dunwoody, and we worked together to raise $100,000 for the Sunshine Kids, and courtesy of working with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Georgia Properties, which is one of their key charities. But Mike is Chief of Staff of District 1, DeKalb County Board of Commissioners, and did a fantastic job with economic development, particularly in Dunwoody. So they brought him over to DeKalb County to see if he could apply the same principles county-wide that he applied in Dunwoody. And but by the way, I just wanted to just get on the record with the names of the communities in DeKalb: Avondale Estates, Brookhaven, Candler, McAfee, Chamblee, Clarkston, Decatur, Dorville, Druid Hills, Dunwoody, Panthersville, Stone Mountain, and Tucker. So, and the Northern District is really, they are two super districts, as I understand it. One is a southern and one is a northern, and you're involved with this Northern District.
Well, we have, as I said, five individual districts, and the super districts cover. So every citizen in the county has votes for two of their elected representatives of the county, one super district and one local district.
Okay. So there's a lot to brag about with DeKalb County, and we talked about the institutions of higher learning and earlier, and you definitely are hitting a home run there. Georgia Theological Seminary, DeVry, Emory, Georgia Piedmont Technical College, Georgia Military College, Oglethorpe, Georgia Perimeter College is no longer called Perimeter College.
Right, it's been absorbed into Georgia State.
Georgia State, and then you've got Mercer. So pretty impressive lineup there. But one even more, or at least equally impressive, in my opinion, is the job that you do with a topic that's of critical importance to Georgia, because for many reasons, one of which is the fact that we're growing so fast. Mm-hmm. And that is, even the Georgia Department of Economic Development prioritizes this in a very high, maybe even number one or two, and that is workforce development. And some numbers that I saw recently that showed that DeKalb County is leading the nation in workforce development. Not just Georgia. So.
Oh, that's great news to hear. I didn't even know that one. That's fabulous.
Yeah, very impressive. I don't know what you're doing over there to do that, but one of the things, obviously, that bodes well is the quality of the education, and particularly at the higher ed level. Yeah,
it's not just the graduate degrees and the PhDs and all that stuff that you get out of Emory or some of these other schools, but it's also the technical education like a Georgia Piedmont offers, and that really comes down to the state and the community deciding what it is what jobs need to be filled, and then identifying how to train these students into those fields. Whether it's welding, that's been a big one for a number of years, but it's everything that's technical, and so the county grows and is successful when it can attract a business that recognizes that we have the numbers of qualified people and the population too. There's no way a state farm that came to Dunwoody could locate in a very rural part of the state, because you need 10,000 employees, and they need to be fairly local because they're not going to commute, long distances. So you've got to play all those against each other in order to put your best foot forward as a community and attract the kind of businesses that we're training people for.
Not only from the technical, but for white collar. There's been technical schools and even blue collar. We have a shortage in that. And I know you have very good technical schools, DeVry, for example.
Right.
That helps with that. And
they're very important to us. And Georgia Piedmont is a real shining star in DeKalb County, and we're thrilled to have them located right inside our county. But it all comes down to how do we attract these businesses, and how do we make sure that we have the employees for the future and make sure they're trained up correctly.
So the big topic in Georgia today is Amazon. Everybody's talking about that's like the big prize of the decade, maybe. And you have an ideal place for that location.
We do. DeKalb has what I consider to be the premier place in Atlanta, which is the old GM site in Doraville, right along 285 and Peachtree Industrial Boulevard. That's 180 acres of prime area. It's not just along those two highways and in also a very important corridor in the metro area, but it's also right on a MARTA line. It's also got the CSX Railroad running right through there, and I think that if we could get an Amazon to come to that area, we'd probably move the Amtrak location from Midtown up to that area. And I can just imagine it's just got so many great things going for it. I think that's the place to go.
Another thing you didn't mention is the airport. They have your own airport over there.
Yeah, PDK is one of the busiest business airports in the country. It is hands down the second busiest airport in the state, behind Hartsfield, which is the busiest airport in the entire country.
Is there opportunity for expansion of that? Should Amazon need additional areas for embarkation and disembarkation?
Well, we luckily are in the process. The county is in the process of building 17 new hangars, and there has been a demand for a number of years to add hangars because that's when you're in economic development, your job, if you can possibly do it, is get your hands on the checklist that the customer is looking for. And we've gotten our hands on the checklist that these companies are using. And 9 times out of 10, one of the top 3 or 4 or 5 items on their checklist is a place for their executives to hangar their jet or their airplane to make a quick, wherever they have to go, quick trip to anywhere in the world. And PDK being a very, very important airport in our area, a very important economic tool. That's, for us, we always make sure they know that we've got one of the premier airports in the country right here. In this case, literally, that the GM site is literally in the landing pattern of the airport.
10 minutes away.
Yeah, literally.
10 minutes from the airport, 10 minutes to MARTA, or 5 minutes to MARTA.
5 minutes to MARTA.
It's and Amazon is very transportation sensitive as a company, and
yeah, logistics is a very big part of it. They've got a logistics hub located here in the Atlanta area, and I think they know all about Atlanta. And Atlanta and the state are pushing a number of sites. And since I live in DeKalb and the GM site is in District 1, I'm very much pushing that item.
Why not?
Yeah,
definitely has a lot going for it. Very serious consideration.
Mm-hmm.
For attracting Amazon and other businesses too.
Yeah, any company. If you're attracting a State Farm or Mercedes-Benz, they need to know where they can put their corporate jet, mm-hmm. and it needs to be close by.
Absolutely. So we're international. I think you can even travel internationally from that airport. You can go.
It
can accommodate the largest jets, even those capable of flying internationally.
Absolutely.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back. I'm Lou Whelan with our friend Mike Davis, at Chief of Staff for District 1, DeKalb County Board of Commissioners. I don't know. Honestly, I know you've told me this, Mike, but I really can't remember exactly. What is the function of Chief of Staff? What does that actually mean anyway? Is that...
Well, when you run a county the size of DeKalb County, each one of the elected representatives are in most cases the first line of government for the people that live in that community. And things go wrong as a county government, as a business. You know, we don't get the garbage picked up on time sometimes. Water billing issues, sewer issues, any animal control, dead deer on the street. Who do you think picks that up? It's the county. People, we don't know about, for instance, a dead animal on the road until somebody calls to tell us this is what's happening and this is where it is. So we as a county respond to those issues. Mm-hmm. And the staff of each one of the county commissioners' main job is to handle those issues. We lovingly refer to ourselves as the complaint department. And this is where the citizens can call up when they don't feel they're getting the answers they need, when they call the sanitation department or the water billing department or the animal control department. We field those calls and then take care of that issue for the people. So the staff of the elected commissioners handles those issues.
Okay. So now, two other interesting things that are developments newsworthy over there are the Presidential Hotel and the North Lake Mall. Got some interesting developments over there. Tell us a little bit about those two.
Yeah, we're excited about that. Those are both in my district, in District 1, the northern part of the county. And the Presidential Hotel, if you aren't familiar with it, you're not. That would mean you're not one of the 240,000 people that drive by it every day on 285 and 85. It's right there at Spaghetti Junction. And it was a hotel built in 1973, and it was a swinging place back in the 70s, early 80s, and fell on hard times and has been pretty much shut down and ransacked and vandalized for the last 20 years. And that became one of my jobs when I became the Chief of Staff for District 1, is to figure out what to do with that. And I'm pleased to announce that just last week, the elected commission voted to give a SLUP, a special land use permit, to the new owner, who is going to turn it into an independent living facility for senior citizens and add another 12-story tower to that 14-story tower. So we're thrilled about that. That's huge for the area. And then the other one is North Lake Mall.
By the way, before I go with that, let me just if in case you're wondering what that building is, that's that tall circular building right there in Spaghetti Junction. Mm-hmm. So you can't miss it when you ride by it.
You can't miss it. So the other one is the North Lake Mall, and like malls nationwide, they are struggling between the Amazon and internet effect of people shopping online, but just retail in general has been in trouble, and the mall phenomena is in trouble. And North Lake Mall has been slowly dying for a number of years. A lot of the large big box stores have pulled away. And we're thrilled to say that a new developer has come in who buys these, we call this a Class B mall. A Class A mall is like a Phipps or a Perimeter or a Lenox. Class B mall is still in a good area, but the mall model is dead. And we're working with a guy who's going to be repurposing that. And we think in the next couple of years, you're going to see just a transformation for that mall and for that area. It'll be a live, work, play opportunity with corporate offices, with restaurants, and with some apartments or townhomes.
So that's pretty exciting. Congratulations. I see you are bringing your business acumen from Dunwoody over to the entire county, and we appreciate your service to the community, Mike. You've done a fabulous, fabulous job, and I'm sure that our citizens appreciate the work that you've done. And I do want to talk a little bit about housing and renovation and remodeling and so forth, and what kind of work are you doing in that area? I know you've really are trying to tackle that project as a concept.
We are. DeKalb County is such a large county that there's a lot of different areas. As you mentioned it early in the show, the average home price is $176, but the average home price in Brookhaven and Dunwoody is over $500. So obviously that means there's a lot of housing in the below 100,000 in parts of the county. And the key is how do we make sure that holds its value and increases. And the key is it all comes down to jobs, getting companies to come and hire people who need to live here.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're going to be talking about other incentives that DeKalb offers that are unlike any other county really in the state of Georgia. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm Lou Whelan, sitting here with Mike Davis, Chief of Staff, District 1, DeKalb County Board of Commissioners. And we'd like to devote this next segment to home ownership. And one thing you might be interested in knowing about DeKalb County, the average price of homes increased 9.3% in 2017 in DeKalb County, which is over twice the increase metro-wide. So congratulations.
Great to hear. Thank you.
Good job over there. And you have two programs, the Host and the Splash. So tell us a little bit about those and how they contribute to the well-being of the housing industry in DeKalb County.
Well, we're one of the few counties in the state that has a host tax, and it's a homeowner's option sales tax, and that's designed to offset the taxes the county collects from homeowners. So you have to be a homesteaded owner of a home. So renters and businesses don't get that exemption. And that's been working fine for a long time, but the county needed another source of income and decided to put a splost into this and lower the homeowner's chunk of the taxes even more. So the average homeowner in Dunwoody, if you assume the average price of a house is $350,000, is going to be about a $700 decrease in their property taxes. And you can go up and down the line, whether it's a $175,000 house or a $700,000 house. It's pretty linear. But the key is that we're going to add 1 penny sales tax, and yet you're going to be able to save, in my case, almost $1,000 a year in my property taxes. And so I assume I will be paying that slowly in the 1 penny sales tax, but I won't feel it nearly as much, as opposed to writing that big check at the at the middle of the year. So we're excited about that because that gets us in a position for the county to pave streets that they have not been able to afford to pave for the last several years. Last I heard, we were over 400 miles down in streets that needed to be paved that we hadn't been able to pave. So this is going to be roughly $600 million of revenue to the county over the next 6 years. And 85% of that money is going to go toward infrastructure, which is roads, bridges, sidewalks, and stuff like that. So we're excited about how that's going to be used and how the money will be used throughout the county catch up on paving and also start adding whatever kind of improvements needs to be added to the county.
Mm-hmm. So the splosh is the transportation. Give us an overview on your transportation kind of paradigm, if you would.
Well, the county was wanting, like most of the counties around us, they have this special 1 penny sales tax that goes in particular to capital projects and more specifically to roads and sidewalks. So this will be, as I said, 1 penny sales tax on a number of items, but a number of items are left out, like food and pharmaceuticals. And that money will now go to the cities and the county for them to spend on capital projects. And in this case, it was actually designated a little further into roads and sidewalks. And the final 15% is for public safety, building some new fire stations and adding more equipment to the fire and the police department.
I would like to ask you one question, too, that's on the minds of a lot of people, and that is, how has MARTA contributed to the well-being of DeKalb County? Because you probably have some of the best public transportation of any county in this city. Yeah,
we in Fulton are the originators of MARTA and have reaped its benefits for many years. MARTA goes all the way up into Sandy Springs, North Sandy Springs, and goes all the way down to the airport and east and west out to in those directions too. So what we have is MARTA puts us in a position to be able to attract businesses. Matter of fact, a couple of years ago, I was reading that every new project being added in the Atlanta metro area was business project was being built within 1/4 mile of a MARTA station, and that was huge. That's very telling. Mm-hmm. And those places that never wanted to opt into MARTA are now wishing they had.
Well, the metro area will grow by an additional 2 million people.
I've heard.
In 2040, I think. And to accommodate that kind of growth, public transportation is a necessity. And you guys are ideally suited to take advantage of that increase in population as a result.
Yeah, I think so. Dunwoody and Sandy Springs especially, but, coming all the way up through the medical center, through Brookhaven, and I look at the northern line, and I also look at the eastern line going out toward Indian Creek and out through Doraville. And Decatur and Chamblee, all that area is definitely winning because of that.
Doesn't that go east also towards Stone Mountain or somewhere out that way?
It ends at Indian Creek, just outside the perimeter.
But are they talking about increasing that or not?
There's a lot of discussion of running some sort of a line all the way out to the Stonecrest Mall, out on 20.
So we don't have much time left, Mike, but you have about 5 seconds to say, what is your vision for this county?
5 seconds.
Time's up. No, I'm just kidding.
I think we can turn this into a really successful county just by following the basic rules of economic development, which is making your community look like the kind of place that people want to invest their money.
Okay, good. Thank you for your service to the community, Mike. You've done an outstanding job, and we appreciate the fine work that you've done and the business that you brought and your wisdom in business. We appreciate it very much. And now stay tuned for Dr. Bill Williams, Chairman and CEO of Swanee Dental Care, our dental health expert.